All right, hello everyone. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start on the non-room. So what I want you to do is basically you're going to add it to the gallery. I'm already going to add it because I'm just going to add it to this one for the example. But I hope that you create your own gallery, and it can be simple or complex depending on your learning curve. But basically on this one, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to a top view here, and I'm going to actually add my non-room onto the back here, so you can kind of like walk through this and then go out this room here. Um, and I just want to have this gallery as an example because this is what I'm going to actually use for the tutorial in the Unreal Engine. So I'm going to start from right here, and I'm going to click on the tool rectangle, or type in rectangle, click, and start to drag out, and then I'm going to do a 60-inch door, enter. So that gives me 60 inches locked in on the left to right, and then I can just overlap it. And because I know that I created my gallery with at the 0 point and then extruded my floor below, I know that this rectangle is right on the floor there. So I can extrude this up, and I'm going to go up 8 feet. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my perspective view here, and I'm going to Boolean difference. So Boolean difference, keep my walls, enter, get rid of this, enter. Okay, so now I've got a door back there. And I've got this curve here, which is placed basically right on the floor of my door. So I'm going to use that to start building the rest of my gallery space, or the rest of my non-room, I should say. So I'm going to go to my light bulb here and isolate that object, go to a top view, and this is actually where a lot of you will be starting with your non-room. So I'm going to draw a sphere because I'm going to make a sphere non-room. Pretty basic, but go for my midpoint, bring it out, have it overlap a little bit, and then go back into my perspective view. So what I want to do here, again, I'm going to extrude this curve up 8 feet, and now I'm going to select the extrusion and pull it so it goes into the sphere. Then I'm going to go ahead and Boolean difference. So now, oh, sorry, let me do that a different way actually, because I want this to be hollow. So I'm undoing, and now I'm going to split this. So this is going to basically just shed the section of the object right here, and that's going to give me an opening. If I just delete it, it's nice and open right there. And you can see my rectangle is still here, so I'm going to extrude this up about 10 inches just to have kind of like a stoop that I'm going to walk into this room. And then I'm going to actually pull this inward here. So I'm just control shifting, or if you have a PC, or a command shift if you have a Mac, to select just the face. So control shift for my PC, command shift if you have a Mac, and I can actually just pull this in as far in as I want. And that's going to give me little platform that I can walk into. Next thing I want to do is I actually need to give this some thickness. Ever since I punched that hole in it, this thing now is not a object with thickness. It's actually just a surface, which we don't want for export. So I'm going to offset surface, enter, and you can see the little arrows. That's the direction it's going to go. And then my distance, is 6 inches, which is fine. So I'm just going to do a 6-inch distance. And if you want to change that distance, because it doesn't say 6 or doesn't say something that you can use, you just type in, I'll do 10, enter. And then now it gives me the 10 inches as my distance. And I hit enter one more time. And now that sphere has some thickness to it. Okay, so this is going to be my arena. I can actually make, I can split up parts of it and add materials to the interior of it. I can also bring in other geometry and add mirrors to it. And that's kind of what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have fun with shapes and textures and see if I can come up with some sort of an interesting form that's kind of indicative of Kusama or the light and space work of James Turrell. I just really want it to be kind of simple because, well, I want it to be a simple tutorial, but also because I'm interested in exploring kind of a minimalistic approach to things. Okay, so now this is going to be the giant domed structure that we're going to kind of walk into. And it's kind of fun because we get to think about what we want to put inside of here to make it interesting, right? So I'm going to go to a top view. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on my Zoom Extents, or you can type in Zoom Extents to reorient your Zoom to make it work better and respond better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start drawing some sort of a shape here. So I'm going to do a polyline, and I'm going to turn off my snaps just to disable there. If you have a Mac, it's over here. And then I'm going to find like my midpoint here. Never mind. I'm not going to disable my snaps. I'm just going to put my snaps back on and turn ortho off. Ortho off down here. Ortho is always up there if you have a Mac. Okay, so now I can pretty much just draw freely. I want to avoid any snaps, but I want to make sure that I can snap back to my original point here. And then I'm going to offset this. And then I'm going to go ahead and just drawing a line where I'm going to trim this out. I'm going to mirror this over, so type mirror, click on this, find my center here, and shift to snap it back into place. And then I'm going to trim this and this with this. Oops. Trim this. Sorry. Trim. Enter. Select the cutting objects. Enter. And then click there. Trim it off. And then I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to use this as a cutting object so I can trim off these little extra sections. Select from left to right and go join. And when I'm saying go to left to right, I'm meaning click the left side and go to the right side, because if you click the right side and go to the left, it selects anything it touches. So that's why I'm saying that. All right, and then next I'm going to join these together into one shape. And let me look in perspective because they didn't join for some reason. Let me hide my dome. Oh, so my little end pieces for some reason are floating up in the air. So I'll just redraw those because it looks like my lines here are fine. So I should be able to now join that all together and click on it. It's all one piece. Okay, great. So now I'm going to extrude this up. And I'm going to make sure solid is selected. It says yes. Okay. Oh. And again, I even had this problem where I don't have the top on there. So I'm just going to delete that and redraw this line from here to here, because that must have been the area that was a problem, and try joining it together again. Yeah, it's all one piece, so it should extrude up fine this time. We'll go up 10 feet. Okay. So while I have the sphere turned off, I'm going to kind of try to find a good vantage of the space. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the sphere back on by right-clicking on the light bulb. Oh, I see what's going on. So in this case, I've got this overlap here. I need to remove any of that overlap. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to Boolean difference, but first I'm going to copy and paste, just like you would with a Word document, Control X or Command X to cut, and then Control V or Command V if you have a Mac to paste. And then I'm going to Boolean difference. So click on my floor here, Boolean difference this out, and then it kind of cuts out that whole section there that I can now delete, go Control V, and paste it back in place. All right. The whole goal here is now I want to set a camera, because it is hard to kind of get in and out of this void space I've created. So now I'm going to go up to View, set camera, or no, sorry, set view, named views. I'm going to call this view non-room. Okay. And then close out of it. Okay, walkabout is another command I can use. And it lets me look around if I right click. So type in walkabout, and then you can right click to make sure you're in the right spot. And if you roll in with your mouse wheel, it should be kind of like walking. Okay, so now I've got a view set up just the way I want here. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to resave my named view here so I can come back to it when I want to. Named views. Delete that named view and then save this one. And I'm going to call it. Okay, so now I've got that set just the way I want. I don't have to think about it anymore. I can zoom out of things, rotate things around, and go back to my view really quickly by going to View, or right-clicking, or, sorry, clicking here, I'm going to View, Set View, Non-Room. Okay. All right, so now let's do some more playing with materials here. Might want to create some new layers, calling this layer here catwalk or whatever. Let's change the color. Do yellow. Right click. Copy objects to this layer, or change object layer, sorry. And then you can also, I think it's move objects to this layer, something like that in Mac. And then call this graphic wall or something like that. Okay. I'll make it lavender. Okay. And then bring back my sphere that I'm going to use and create a new layer and call it dome. Move objects to this layer, or change object layer, and I'll change the color to a light green. All right, so now let's go ahead and add materials to things. I'm just going to use the materials that I've already got here, and the reason for that being that I don't want to have to create new materials, but that's something that's going to be a good area for your creativity, so I hope to see that happen. Okay, so sorry, I have to change my renderer. Okay. So I can use these materials. So I'm going to actually just use the custom materials that I made before. Let me look at this in rendered so I can see it. Okay. So that's just using that material that I had already developed before. I'm going to actually duplicate this material though, because I want to increase the tiling on it, because we can already see that it's pixelating quite a bit. So double click on it, click on this, scroll down, and I'm going to do a repeat of 25. Okay. Cool. So something like that, and then I'm going to isolate the other material, other object here under my layers here. Graphic wall, set current, and then I'm going to invert selection and click on the hide here. So now I've just got this graphic wall, and you can do whatever you want on something like this. And of course, I'm going to do something simple. So I'm going to put a color like that on it, and then I'm going to come down here and go to self illumination. All right. So if I had multiple panels here, which maybe I'll do that. Actually, I'll explode this, and then I'm going to add this material over here. Come down. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me do this because I'm messing up other stuff by manipulating that. Okay. So let me duplicate this material. Duplicate, sorry. It's in different places on different operating systems. And I'm going to call it glow. And then I'm going to actually come in here, apply it to this object, and turn back on the self-illumination here so it glows. Okay, then I'm going to duplicate it again, and this time I'm going to change the color of it too. So instead of blue, I can go green, and then I'm going to explode this. And just apply different colored materials. I'm going to duplicate this again. And this time I'm going to change the color and do like a yellow. And I'm going to apply that yellow to the top here. Cool. And this is already a transparent material, so that helps. And then I could do more stuff, and I'm kind of tempted to, but I'm actually just going to go ahead now and do a, go back to my views. And by the way, if you have a Mac, you can just right click to get this panel I'm looking at here. Set view, non-room, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to my standard bar here, right click to turn on. Oh, wait, the layers are turned off. Okay, so I'm actually going to just turn on the dome and the catwalk because I don't want the gallery on, actually. So I'll do a rendering here just as a test to see what it looks like. And this is basically all we're looking for, is some basic materials added to some kind of an object with really cool visual interest. And when we pull this out with the gallery into the Unreal Engine, you're going to have this cool little room as an offshoot of your gallery that people can look around in virtual reality or in the gameplay mode that we've talked about. So this, I think, will be a good example. I'm going to render it out here, and then once it's done rendering, I'll show you what it came up with. All right? So thank you very much. I'm going to pause it for now. Okay, so this is the rendering of that view, and you can see it's kind of chaotic, and but it still has a really interesting kind of color combination and stuff. And I would probably play more with the color combinations than what you see here. So that's it for this part of the